Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to do another little bookish chat. I've had quite a busy couple of weeks, so yeah, let's just catch up about it. I mean, for starters, I couldn't do this bookish catch up without mentioning the amazing BookTuber meetup that happened in York this past weekend. I just had the best time meeting up with all of these wonderful booktubers. I'm going to link all of them down below. Really annoyingly, I did not get any footage of this day. I had every plan to, but then I just got so absorbed in York, in talking to people, in the bookshops. Though I know Charlie at Charlie Brooke Reads was basically our designated videographer for the day. She has posted a really fantastic vlog, so I'll link that down below. It was really special to be back in my university city of York, getting to go around a lot of my old haunts and many of the bookshops that I spent a lot of time in during my 4 years at York, but also seeing new bookshops, either ones that were new to me or ones that must have popped up while I've been away. I'd never been to the Blue House bookshop before, or the Portal bookshop, which is specifically an LGBTQ plus bookshop. I think Criminally Good Books has crept up since 2019, which is when I finished my master's degree, and they were just so lovely and so well curated. Blue House specialises in children's books, Portal, as I say, specialises in LGBTQ plus, and Criminally Good Books, as it suggests from its name, focuses on crime and mystery books. And yeah, it was just so lovely to be able to go around these bookshops, to be able to spend some time in person with some bookish friends. I actually didn't end up picking up many books. Right up until the very last one, we went into an Oxfam Books in Micklegate and I found a Pelican edition of Julius Caesar. I do like to collect the Pelican editions, and I was pretty sure this is one that I didn't already have. But that was my lot for book buying. I say it's my lot for book buying, I did pick up one other thing, which has brought me a lot of joy. We went into the Little Apple bookshop and they sell some really lovely bookish gifts, but something I ended up picking up from them was this little knitted ghost. They were selling these little ghosts in different colours, and I thought, this goes very well with my aesthetic. And I'm slowly but surely accumulating a little collection of Halloween decorations that go with my bedroom. Do you see the vision on this? I'm not really one for the traditional autumn colours, so whenever I see things like this, I just have to snatch them up. But yeah, that was pretty much it for things that I picked up during the bookshop crawl, though I'm very much looking forward to seeing everybody else's hauls. As I said previously, I've been really trying to keep my TBR down. Since I did hit TBR 0, I was also very conscious that I do have a few library book reservations coming through. And in fact, I ended up going to the library yesterday and picking up my reservation, which was this non-fiction book, The Notebook. No, it's not Nicholas Sparks, it's non-fiction. A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland. This is one that seems very niche, and you're probably like, that's weird, but it's one that I saw in Waterstones recently and I was just really curious. I know in like the study tube sphere of YouTube and TikTok, the idea of commonplace books has become really popular recently. I'm always somebody who likes to have a notebook to hand, and I don't know about you, but I always feel a little bit bereft if I go out anywhere without a reading book and B, a notebook. And so I thought, especially considering that non-fiction November is right around the corner, this would be a really good book to pick up. I don't know necessarily that it fits with any of the prompts, but I'm hoping for an interesting read. And actually, while I was at the library, I also ended up picking up a short story collection, but I saw it right as I was checking out and thought, absolutely, for this time of year, got to read that, or at least give it a go. And it is In These Hallowed Halls, which is short stories specifically Dark Academia inspired. A Dark Academia anthology featuring stories from Oliver Blake, ML Rio, Susie Yang, David Bell, G.T. Ellison, and many more. I'm not going to lie to you, the only name that I know from that is ML Rio. So hopefully this is going to get me really into the Dark Academia mode. I'm going to get a new story from ML Rio and learn about many more authors who write in this genre. And also, while I was at the library, I always forget that they have DVDs that you can rent for like £1 or £2. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I have had the musical Kiss Me Kate stuck in my head. Generally in my life, I've had it stuck in my head for a few months. Then I went to see the recent production and it kind of like jumped out of my head. And then it came hurtling back in this past week. So I've had Kiss Me Kate, I've had Taming of the Shrew just generally on my mind. And so when I saw that they had a copy of the Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor Taming of the Shrew, which I have seen before but I don't own, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this. Taming of the Shrew is a play that I find fascinating. It's probably Shakespeare's play that I am the most fascinated by, because obviously when you put the plot down on paper, problematic is not quite the word. You know, as a woman, as a feminist, don't agree. But I think it's fascinating because I think it's a play that goes to show that the text isn't necessarily everything, and how staging, directorial and acting choices, blocking off a scene can do so much to kind of twist and subvert the original text. And this is a film that I think mostly plays it straight but does make some really interesting choices. For example, the whole meeting scene between Catherine and Petruchio is just amazing to watch. And especially the ending, we see Elizabeth Taylor playing Catherine's speech about, you know, I'm ashamed that women are so simple. Her speech about submitting to your husband. She plays it completely straight, and all the men are celebrating about how the shrew has been tamed. But then notably, Petruchio turns back to Kate and she has walked off without him, kind of hinting that perhaps she hasn't truly been tamed. Maybe she's been making this up entirely. And I find it fascinating. These two obviously have such amazing chemistry, and yeah, I was in the mood to watch it, so there we go. But going to York and going to the library was not the only bookish thing I did with my past week. I was actually in Dublin from last Monday evening to Wednesday morning, so essentially just for Tuesday, because I was attending a book launch for my work. So I was flown over. During the day I was meeting with different bookshops and media contacts, but also I had been told by my work that I should go around different bookshops in Dublin and have a look at what stock they had from the publisher that I work for. And I was kind of like, you want me for work to go into many bookshops? Well, if you insist. And so, you know, I did that. I went into the bookshops, I saw that they had stock, I took lots of photos, but I did also buy myself a couple of books. It had to be done. It had to be done. And a book that was in the Irish literature section, which was calling my name, you'll be able to see very clearly why, was this. It literally had my name on it. This is Charlotte by Martina Devlin, which, as the image on the front suggests, is relating to Charlotte Bronte. And I have heard nobody talking about this. I don't know if it's had a wide release in the UK, but I was seeing this all over the place in Dublin. And you'll be probably wondering why the Irish connection, aside from the author. But my understanding about this is about Charlotte Bronte's widow, Arthur Bell, and particularly his second wife, who was Irish. And it's kind of exploring the Bronte connection to Ireland, and kind of similarly to Rebecca, being the second wife to a husband whose first wife was so prominent. Really, that is all I know. I know nothing else, so I'm really keen to pick this one up. This one isn't an Irish book, but I thought was pretty relevant to this time of year, and it is Haunted Tales, Ghostly Stories for the Darkest Nights by Adam Mcqueen. And like, just look at that, how gorgeous is that? As this suggests, this is a spooky short story collection. I thought was going to be particularly Halloween inspired, but actually looking into this is more Christmassy, winter, spooky short stories. So actually it's a really great read to have in November, December. This is basically a collection of stories that he would write for his friends and family in lieu of a Christmas card. Every year he would just give them a spooky story, and that just sounds really great. I've read 3 of them so far and keen to read more. And also partway through the audiobook for Wicked by Gregory Maguire. For me, this is a reread. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of the musical. I'm very much looking forward to the film that's coming out later on in November. But before I watch that, I kind of wanted to give the book another go. I read it for the first time when I was about 14 years old, which in hindsight, probably was a bit too young. I think both my reading comprehension and just generally my comprehension of the world meant that I wasn't quite ready for a book that is a lot more adult than the musical. But I am really quite enjoying it this time round. So more thoughts to come. I might do a separate video on this one. Penultimate thing I wanted to talk about was a few videos that I've been watching recently on YouTube. First one is a BookTube one. A BookTube video that I really enjoyed and just wanted to recommend to you is Ben Reads Good. He recently posted a video which was autumn book recommendations, where not only would he suggest a book recommendation, but he got a bunch of his BookTube friends to also send autumnal book recommendations, and then he would recommend a book to kind of match up with the BookTuber's recommendation. And it was just such a fun video. I think definitely my favourite BookTuber clip came from Gemma over at Gemma Books. You know, the prompt was basically like what autumn means to you, and a book that kind of follows that vibe, and her talking about how what autumn means to her is lots of washing. Laundry is just never done during the autumn, because not only are people getting muddy and disgusting, but also it just doesn't dry, does it? Unless you have a dryer, you are just constantly surrounded by the drying rack. It's never ending, and it just made me howl. So yes, there was that video. It was really well done. And then a non-bookish channel I wanted to shout out is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Charlie Neva. I believe that she is originally a sewing channel, and this is kind of one of her spin-off channels, but I came to her through her Not a Second channel. And on this channel, she basically just talks about life. Her YouTube description says that she is turning her inner monologues into outer monologues. She recently fell into my recommendations because of her video about only reading classic literature and how she kind of wants to break out from that. But other ones that I really enjoyed included a video called My Brain is a Symphony, and I've never seen somebody or heard somebody talk about how their brain processes information in a way that is so similar to my own. So I definitely recommend that if you want a bit of insight into how my brain works as well. She also went to college for musical theatre, so you know that appeals to me. But her video about that experience is actually called How College Ruined Singing for Me. And then most recently she did a video about scripting your videos, and basically the pros and cons to that and why she actually does script her videos. And And yeah, I just find these videos really engaging, really thought-provoking. And so yeah, check her out. And so finally, to wrap up, we do have to go to the inspirational women's quotes jar. For those of you who are new to this, my friend Sophie got me this jar back on my birthday. And so every time I do a bookish catch-up, I reach for a quote from the jar to kind of send you on your way with some inspiration. Got a little purple one. Oh no, I shouldn't do a purple one. I should do green to match with what I'm wearing. So we have, I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done, by Lucille Ball. And no, for once, I don't actually need to look up who this influential woman is. Very famous actress and comedian who I guess is most well known for I Love Lucy. Let me know if you've got any Lucille Ball recommendations. I'd love to hear from you. And that's it for another bookish catch-up. Do let me know if you've read any of the books I've spoken to you about today. Have you been to any of the bookshops I mentioned? I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.